You know what I mean? You saw it developing after the restart. You saw it early in the race. But at least NASCAR has stepped in on this one and said, hey, just race. Let's just get to the halfway point. Let's get it. And then everybody can have that.
Kyle's he's in a no-win situation.
Yeah.
He's on probation, so.
Yeah, he is in no-win. But that's kind of boys have at it except for Kevin and Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carl Edwards back up to 5th after the pit stops. He went around Brian Vickers there for position on track. And Kyle Busch with more friends to play with. There's Paul Menard. And look right behind him, Jeff Burton.
I think Menard is kind of in his own.
Yeah,
he's not part of that rowdy bunch.
Yeah.
He's just out there doing his deal and looking for good finishes.
And then Jeff, the 31 and the 18 have a little history, but I think Jeff's so focused on having a solid run and getting his stuff together. He didn't come to play games. He came to race, and so did Menard.
Now, that 31 team needs to focus on track because it's been a struggle lately. Haven't had a top 10 finish this year, Chris.
Well, and Jeff Burton started back in 33rd today. He's really working on the setup of that car. He's still calling for some more rear grip. They've been adjusting on both those last 2 pit stops. First one took 2 tires, got some track position. Second pit stop, 2 tires again. So he's moving up right now because of making good calls on pit stops, but he's still looking for some more rear grip.
And he has been a big mover today, Chris, up 19 positions on track. Very impressive as Jeff Burton in the early portion of this race as he continues to work with his teammate Paul Menard. Kyle Busch in front of this group in 12th, and right behind in 15th, Ryan Newman. A nice battle on track here as they come off turn 3.
But let's go back to that lap we just watched. Menard had position on the 18, but the 31 got a great run, and the 31 messed up Menard's position. So Menard ends up falling back in line. The 31 ends up falling back in line, and they're exactly the same place they were the lap before. If the 31 car had just waited, let Menard get by the 18, then it would be that way. But you don't think that when you're out there racing. Nobody's thinking
that. I mean, if you get through one and all of a sudden you've got to run, and you're either going to run over them or you're going to pull out and see if you can make something happen. I think that was the case there.
Yeah, and it looked ugly there for a minute. I thought they were going to go 3 wide over the tunnel turn.
Juan Pablo Montoya took 2 tires on a pit stop at lap 19. He led briefly, but right now he's 2.4 seconds behind the race leader. That would be Denny Hamlin. .34 of 200 laps complete today in the 5-hour Energy 500 from the Pocono Raceway. Happy to have you with us for NASCAR on TNT in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. And there you see the front straightaway and the lead that has already been put up by Denny Hamlin. 2.4 seconds his lead when we went to break. It's now over 3 seconds as we ride on board with both Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart around this 2.5-mile triangle.
On top of Clint Boyer. That's a pretty cool shot. See him using the gear shift there down in turn 1. He'll downshift the 3rd. He'll grab 4th here again pretty quick because the RPMs come up really, really fast here. And you can tell when he shifted, it wasn't really that much of a shift. It was just almost like an overdrive. But then he keeps it in 4th gear.
And watch here. Just like we were talking about Denny Hamlin using the clutch. Watch his left leg. The little bit you can see, he never moves it.
It just keeps that car up on the RPMs. Actually helps you. The car's more drivable when you're up on the RPMs like that, especially when the tires start going out. Here's Tony Stewart's shot. Now, he used to downshift right here, but he downshifts a little bit later. Actually, he downshifted earlier than a lot of guys are.
I always like shots like this too when you're watching the drivers. The difference in the dash design. You see where Tony keeps his tack on the steering column. Boyer had his tack up into the dash. You know what I mean? And that's just the consensus of where the drivers. If you have team drivers, everybody will sit around and say, well, this is where I like the gauges, or this is what I'm used to.
When you watch that little light on the left, you'll see that light maybe come on right there. That's basically, they call them idiot lights.
Yeah.
That tells the driver when to shift. You're too many RPMs. Now's the time to shift.
And we've got a great group on the technical side for NASCAR on TNT that helps put on all these pictures. But it's nice to have an assist from Darian Grubb, Tony Stewart's crew chief, and Shane Wilson, the crew chief for Clint Boyer, who allow us to go inside and show you what it's all about.
Yeah, that's really a great shot.
Back to looking at the cars on track, and here's a nice battle. We talked a lot about Kyle Busch today. He's 13th, and that's Ryan Newman going to the inside in the 39 car.
And that was really good sound right there, because you saw him get positioned on Kyle Busch. And from the sound of Kyle Busch's car, he rolled out of it to let the 39 have that position.
I think I'm not sure the 18's working on exactly like he wanted to. I watched him a couple times coming through the tunnel turn. The car looks awfully loose to me.
Time now for the KFC trivia quiz. And before I ask the question, I'm going to ask my friends to my right, Kyle Petty and Wally Dallenbach, to not blurt out the answer. Not that the two of you have any knowledge, but just keep it quiet for those at home, all right?
This one's easy.
Who has the most second-place Pocono finishes without a win? This is all time. Who has the most second-place finishes at this racetrack without recording a victory? We got the answer coming up a bit later on in the show.
I say, I don't know.
You don't really know? You know, though.
I know, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm not really book smart. I'm just street smart, which means I'm imaginary smart.
Second gear, 4750 at the line, 4750. Highway line.
20 laps since they were last on pit road, and Kevin Harvick coming down here.
That's a little bit early.
Marty, what's happening?
Guys, this is way early. This is not a scheduled stop for Kevin Harvick. They did not get the car full last time. This has been an issue with a new can. You really can't tell when the car is full. They did not get all of the fuel into the car for Kevin Harvick last time. He will come down pit road. The car hung in the top 10 there. They took 2 tires on the last stop. Still loose for Harvick, down one round on the track bar. Also, there's talking about rain in the area, but about 10 laps from everybody else stopping, guys.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning when they pitted the first time on the first caution, then on the second time, and Biffle did not get his car full when these guys were running together. So that's 2 of that pair. They both missed it.
Unscheduled pit stop for Kevin Harvick. Not going to help him here this afternoon. NASCAR.com's ultimate tailgating vehicle is presented in part by Coors Light. Go to NASCAR.com/UTV and enter for a chance to win this tricked-out tailgate machine and find out where it will travel this summer. Visit NASCAR.com/UTV and get started. Denny Hamlin continues to lead this race, 3.4 seconds his advantage over Juan Pablo Montoya, and we have green flag pit stops. We start with Ralph Shaheen.
Ryan Vickers is in. He's real loose off of turn number 3. They're going to take some wedge out, put 4 tires on it, and also put some fuel in this car, Chris Neville.
Well, Jeff Burton back in pit lane going to make a slight adjustment because he's saying now the car is a bit tight. But guys, it was only 24 laps since Jeff Burton was horsed. So the RCR cars just don't seem to be getting the fuel mileage of some of the other cars. Marty?
David Reagan hanging around the top 15. His car has been tight. He said it chatters through turn 1. 4 tires and a wedge adjustment, trying to get that car to loosen up a bit for Reagan and maybe advance him forward as well, Adam.
And if you're not handling, that ruins your gas mileage even worse.
The first of those to come down on pit road under green was Brad Keselowski at lap 42. Casey Kane in front of Ralph.
He is, and they're going to take the track car down 1 round, put 4 tires on the number 4, and put some fuel in it as well. Try to get this car handling a little bit better for him. He's all done, service is complete, and he's away. At Yokohama.
That Ford of Greg Biffle, thirsty, still tight on exit, slotting the nose, especially down in turn 1. Air pressure change for Biffle. No chassis adjustments across the back. To Chris.
Marcus Ambrose still saying his car a little bit tight. 4 tire change and fill him up.
You hope. You hope he's filled up.
The stops began at lap 42 under green. Brad Keselowski the only one to come in there. And they've been coming in every lap since. Juan Pablo Montoya in right now, Marty.
I asked Brian Patty after the decision to take 2 tires, what do you want to see out of this? He said, if we stay in the top 10, we'll be okay. He's done better than that. Ran second this entire run, not a word on the radio. No changes, Ralph.
Kyle Busch is in for service as well. They're going to make an adjustment to the rear of this car as well. He's going to take 4 tires and a full load of fuel as well. The 18 is ready to go back out, Kristen.